If you want to know the exact moment your relationship turned from a partnership into a crime scene, don't look at her eyes, look at her thumb. Have you noticed the way she handles her phone lately? It's no longer an object, it's a high-security black box. For years, her code was your birthday, or maybe there was no code at all. But today, the screen goes dark the second you walk into the room. You're witnessing the digital shadow protocol. You're the victim of the information embargo. While you're sitting there wondering if you're being paranoid, she is currently building a digital life that requires a password specifically designed to keep you out. You're witnessing a psychological heist. She didn't suddenly realize she deserves privacy after 3 years of transparency. She suddenly realized she has things she can no longer afford for you to see. You're the victim of the transparency trap. You think you're showing respect by not asking, but behavioral observations show that you're actually just granting her a license to lie. You are currently paying the phone bill for a device that is being used to delete your future in real time. Today, we are cracking the vault on why privacy is the favorite word of a woman who is already halfway out the door. If you don't watch this until the final second, you're choosing to be the man who stays in the dark while the woman he loves is currently shining a light for someone else in the shadows. The most dangerous lie a man can believe is that a sudden need for privacy is a sign of her finding herself, when it is almost always a sign of her hiding someone else. Men, this channel is more than content. It's a brotherhood that exists for those who refuse to be controlled, distracted, or broken. My ex told me men today are too weak, too distracted, and too controlled to ever unite. I didn't argue. I decided to prove her wrong. Every man who subscribes is proof that discipline, self-respect, and strength still exist. If you stand for truth, self-control, and knowing your value as a real man, if you're here to sharpen your mindset and live with standards, subscribe and stay. Like this video and make your presence known in the comments. Let's see who's serious and is ready to prove doubters wrong, because after this video, you'll be reborn as a new man who has discovered himself and is ready to take back his manhood. Make sure to subscribe and stay ahead, because we are just getting started. We have to look at the architecture of the digital vault. You see, brothers, transparency is the oxygen of a healthy relationship. For years, you both breathed easily because there were no hidden rooms. But when the password changes out of nowhere, the oxygen is being sucked out of the room. You are the victim of behavioral compartmentalization. She is creating a black site, a place where she can have conversations, make plans, and explore options without your masculine frame being there to correct it. Behavioral observations show that a woman doesn't protect her phone from the world. She protects it from the one person whose opinion actually matters. She is protecting her secret identity. You are being digitally segregated in your own home. You are the one who fixes the sink and pays for the Netflix, but the man behind the locked screen is the one who gets the real her. You are being used for utility, while he is being used for validation. This leads us to the gaslighting of the intuitive man. When you notice the phone being tilted away or the sudden password change, and you ask a simple, calm question, she doesn't give you a straight answer. She gives you a character assassination. She tells you you're insecure. She tells you you have trust issues. You're the victim of projective inversion. She is taking her own guilt for hiding things and flipping it to make it your fault for noticing. Behavioral patterns suggest that when a woman has nothing to hide, she has no reason to be defensive. But when she is branch swinging, looking for a new man while still using your stability, she needs that privacy to keep the transition smooth. You are being psychologically neutralized. She wants to make you so afraid of being called controlling that you eventually stop looking altogether. Let me tell you about a man named Jason. Jason was a pilot. A man used to protocols and clear communication. He and his wife, Chloe, had shared everything for 6 years. Then, Chloe went on a girls' trip. When she came back, her phone, which usually sat open on the counter, was suddenly glued to her hand. The password had been changed.
When Jason asked about it, Chloe told him she was learning about her own boundaries in therapy and that Jason was disrespecting her growth. Jason was the loser in this story because he chose to value her lie over his truth. He spent 8 months working on his insecurity. He bought her more flowers, gave her more space, and tried to be the modern, trusting husband. Jason was the victim of the slow-motion execution. While he was busy respecting her privacy, Chloe was using that privacy to plan a new life with a man she met on that trip. She used the time Jason gave her to move money, find an apartment, and build a case against him. When Jason finally found out, after an old iPad synced her messages, it was too late. Chloe didn't feel bad. She told him, "Your insecurity drove me away." Jason lost his house, his savings, and his mind because he thought privacy was a sign of health. He failed because he ignored the behavioral red line. He stayed in a burning house because she told him the smoke was just her incense. You have to recognize the notification pivot. It's not just the big things. It's the way her heart rate spikes when her phone pings while you're holding it. It's the way she dives for the device if it vibrates on the table. You are the victim of micro-betrayals. These are small, daily choices to prioritize her secret world over your shared world. Behavioral observations show that the phone has become a trigger for her. She wants the attention from the new source, but she needs the security from you. The password is the only thing keeping those two worlds from colliding and destroying her comfortable setup. You are being used as a safety net while she tightrope walks with someone else's attention. The next psychological stage is the defensive offense. She will start finding faults in you to justify her new need for secrecy. She will bring up an argument from 2021 to explain why she doesn't feel safe letting you see her phone now. You are the victim of the history rewrite. She is trying to make her current secrecy look like a response to your past behavior. It's a calculated lie. Behavioral patterns suggest that if she truly felt unsafe, she wouldn't stay in the house. She stays because she wants the life you provide while she enjoys the secret the phone provides. You are being drained of your masculine power by a woman who is using your own integrity to trap you in a cage of doubt. The loser's loop is the man who tries to earn his way back into her trust. You think that if you are just more romantic, she will give you the password again. But you are the victim of the goalpost shift. The more you give, the more privacy she will demand. You are being psychologically siphoned. Instead of leading your life, you are auditioning for a play that she has already rewritten for a different lead actor. You have to realize that the moment the transparency ends, the partnership has entered the liquidation phase. You don't need to see the nudes or the texts to know the truth. The lock on the phone is the lock on her soul. You are being psychologically enslaved by your own hope. If you are still searching for a rational reason why a woman who shared everything for years suddenly needs a digital bunker, you are searching for a ghost. You need to understand the concept of the transition phase. She isn't finding her voice, she is hiding her choice. You're sitting there thinking about boundaries while she is thinking about encryption. You're the victim of the transparency ghosting. While you're trying to have a heart-to-heart, she is currently deleting the digital fingerprints of her heart to someone else. You are witnessing a psychological exit. She didn't accidentally forget how to be an open book. She intentionally slammed the cover shut because she started a new story that doesn't have a role for you. You're the victim of the respect deficit. You think that by respecting her privacy, you're being a high-value man, but behavioral observations show that in a committed union, sudden privacy is just a polite word for active deception. Today, we are finishing the work of the digital reclamation. We are looking at the final psychological shifts, the power of the void, the behavioral audit, and the mastery of the sovereign exit.
I'm going to show you why the password isn't the problem. The woman who thinks she needs one is. If you don't watch this until the final second, you're choosing to be the man who gets blindsided by a reality everyone else already saw coming. The most powerful form of privacy a man can ever have is the total silence he gives to a woman who thought she could keep secrets while keeping him. I know men with standards are here. If you value discipline, respect, and strength, subscribe, like, and comment. We have to talk about the psychology of the digital vault. You see, brothers, a woman who is all in with a man doesn't feel the need for a vault. She wants you to see her life because her life is you. But when the password changes after years of transparency, she is creating a mental border. Behavioral observations suggest that secrecy in a relationship acts like a slow-acting poison. It creates a gap where the soul used to be. You are the victim of the shadow gap. This gap is where she stores her backup plan. It's where she keeps the conversations with the friend from college or the guy from the gym that would hurt your feelings but feed her ego. You are being digitally segregated in your own relationship. You are the one who pays the mortgage, but he is the one who gets the good night text. You are being used for utility while he is being used for validation. This leads us to the transparency protocol. A sovereign man understands that trust isn't a feeling you have, it's a standard you maintain. If the standard for years was open access, then a sudden change is a contractual breach. You are the victim of the moving goalposts. Most men try to argue her back into being honest. This is a behavioral error. You cannot negotiate someone into having integrity. You are being psychologically manipulated into believing that wanting transparency is insecure. It's not. It's a requirement for a high-value union. Behavioral patterns show that when a man stops demanding transparency and starts accepting secrecy, the woman loses the last bit of respect she had for his masculine frame. You are being drained of your alpha energy by accepting a subpar, deceptive arrangement. I want to tell you about a man named Brian. Brian was a software developer, a man who understood that data doesn't lie. He and his girlfriend Elena had been together for 4 years. One night, Brian noticed Elena tilted her phone away from him while they were on the couch, something she had never done before. Then he saw her change her code while he thought he was sleeping. Brian was the winner in this story because he understood the instant behavioral audit. He didn't play detective. He didn't try to hack her phone. He didn't cry. He sat Elena down the next morning and said, "The rules of our relationship have changed. You've replaced transparency with secrecy. I don't live in the dark. You can keep your privacy, but you can't keep me." Elena tried the "you're being insecure" defense. Brian didn't argue, he didn't yell, he simply started packing his bag. He realized that the phone was just the symptom, but the lack of respect was the disease. Brian won because he valued his internal peace more than the idea of Elena. He walked away that day. 2 weeks later, Elena was already official with a guy she'd been privately messaging for months. Brian saved himself years of digital gaslighting because he trusted his gut more than her excuses. He moved from being the victim of her deception to being the master of his own reality. He won because he realized that a woman who hides her screen is already hiding her heart. He didn't need proof to know he was being disrespected. He just needed to see the pattern shift. You have to recognize the curiosity trap. Your brain wants to know what she is hiding. You want to see the messages. You want to see the photos. You are the victim of useless data hunting. Brothers, the content of the secret doesn't matter. The existence of the secret is the message. Behavioral observations show that men who obsess over knowing the truth end up losing their minds while the woman continues to lie. You have to move to strategic indifference. If she needs a password to keep you out, you should need a map to find your way out of her life. You are being psychologically liberated the moment you stop caring what's behind the lock. The winner's protocol is about the high-value response. You don't beg for the code. You don't try to guess it. You simply recognize that the agreement of trust has been terminated by her actions. You are the prize. You are the sovereign man. You recognize that your life is a high-speed train, and anyone who wants to ride it must have a clear ticket. If she wants to hide her data, let her hide it in a house you don't pay for. Healing is the realization that the phone was just a tool the universe used to show you that she wasn't the one. You are being realigned with the truth. You are being reforged. You now know that privacy is a weapon used by the weak to deceive the strong in a committed relationship. You are the master of your own psychology. You don't need to see the messages to know you deserve better. You are the sovereign man. You are the master of your own boundaries. You don't wait for her to confess. You are the one who decides when the game is over. So here is the smart question for the Brotherhood today. If you could see every message she has sent in private over the last 30 days, would you be more surprised by the words she wrote to another man, or by the fact that you still haven't walked away yet? I want to hear from the brothers who saw the password shift and chose their peace. How did it feel when you finally stopped playing detective? For the men who are currently staring at a locked screen, be honest. What is the one truth you are terrified of finding? Let's get the engagement up so we can support the brother who is currently being told he's crazy for wanting transparency. Your story might be the wake-up call he needs to stop asking for the code and start asking for his keys back. This channel is for men who are done blaming themselves for other people's choices. If that's you, don't leave as a spectator. Subscribe and stay ahead because we're just getting started. Support the message, speak in the comments, and stand with the men who choose clarity over confusion. I'll see you in the next one. Stay sharp, stay cold, stay in your power.